Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in Lagos.
Sporty greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. In London, I'm Austin Okonatna. Cecilia, always an action-packed world of sports. And you know, when it's Fridays, I say, thank God it's Friday. Because we're going into a weekend of sporting action.
Yes, the weekend starts on Friday, and of course, the games across Europe. We'll be talking about that tonight. Starting with tonight, of course, Leicester City and Manchester United will be in action in the FA Cup. We'll be giving you updates of that. The game already started 5 minutes into that game. Of course, and earlier today, Heartland and Katsina United. Katsina winning by a lone goal. And of course, take a look at Nigeria Football League games this weekend. The big one, Remo Stars and Kano Pillars, 3SC and Benin Insurance, a whole lot of games. Of course, we talk about the Madrid derby. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid will also be in action this weekend. Yes, it's loaded with lots of football. We'll touch on Carabao Cup, what happened when we were on the show last night. Liverpool were still leading by logo. Somehow we don't really know what happened and how they were able to beat Tottenham for August to nothing. That's how it ended. Carabao Cup updates from the coaches. We'll be bringing that to you on the show. And Marcus Rashford, will he be making his debut for Aston Villa this weekend in the FA Cup? We'll also touch down on that one. And of course, the big one, cricket. Yes, we will be talking cricket on the show tonight. And exactly that's what we're starting up with, because cricket is really making it big. Yes, some people will be wondering, cricket, Nigeria, yes, it's big. Remember what happened to the under 19 women's team right there. I mean, where they had to beat New Zealand, a cricket nation, a test nation. I mean, New Zealand is one of the biggest countries when it comes to cricket in the world, but those girls went there to do a lot. Did Nigeria proud? So we'll be talking about cricket and what the federation is planning for these girls this year, and of course the under 17 national championship that's currently going on across different zones in Nigeria. That will also get our attention on the show, and of course maybe the plans for this year and subsequently how we will be developing cricket more in Nigeria. There's so much on grassroots going on, but elite level and grassroots level, cricket is actually making with. The president will be joining us on the show tonight. But before he joins us, I'll introduce my guest in Lagos studio. Onifade Adamilola is right here in Lagos. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Cecilia. It's good to be here. And,
yeah, it's good to have you.
Particularly on the night that we'll be celebrating cricket.
Yes, I know. It's happening in beat for that
it's
one.
Quite good.
All right. Okay. We're going to start on with cricket, Austin. Austin, I know you covered cricket a lot, especially when you were in Nigeria. You love the sports. I remember when we talked about different federations. If you can just be giving federations award, I mean, cricket is one of those federations you want to give awards to. Badminton is also another one. Handball is also another federation you talk about. Volleyball, these federations are doing really something great, not just at elite level, focusing on elite sport, but also right from grassroots. And that's what we'll be having the president, Uyi Akpata, joining us on the show tonight.
Cecilia, when you were talking about it, I was so pumped up. Beating New Zealand was the mother of upset at the ICC Under 19 T20 Women's World Cup in Malaysia. And if not for the weather, with what I saw these girls do, they would have beaten England, they would have beaten Samoa, they defeated Ireland, which is also a test playing nation. You see, this is what we're talking about. That when you invest in the grassroots, there's no way you suffer, because at that level, it's not about winning, it's development. I always talk about it. Cecilia mentioned it. So let's welcome the president, Nigeria Cricket Federation, Uyi Akpata. He joins us live from Lagos. Mr. President, I call you all the time in the background, Presido, when you're making us proud. Good to have you join us on Sports Tonight.
No, thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here. Let me start by saying, thank you very much also for your reports whilst we were in Malaysia.
Awesome, fantastic. You see, those girls, that morning, it was early morning when they defeated New Zealand. We couldn't contain our joy. The cricket community, not just in Nigeria, worldwide, celebrated the female junior yellow greens. You were right there in Malaysia. What sort of victory was it over New Zealand?
First and foremost, it's a good thing they did not catch me the moment we won. because it was mixed emotions. I mean, actually shed tears because it was just about 3 to 4 years of investment coming to fruition. You're just seeing it all before your eyes. But those girls are special, extra special. Not only me and the Nigerian stakeholders, but the whole world really saw that they were very special. So the next moment, initial emotion of just tears and joy, but just overall excitement for everyone who in one way or another has contributed in making this a reality. Especially when we see that reality or our expectation is coming about 3 years way ahead of our targets, as it were.
I know. You see, when the federation set the target that every year you want to get 250,000 new cricketers, I said, wait a minute, what's wrong with we Akpata and this cricket board? But you just mentioned it that 3 years down the line, even before the dreams, you're already seeing it. First West African team to play at the World Cup, created upsets. How important is it for us to keep the process of discovering and nurture talents going?
It's extremely important. Remember when I appeared about 3 years ago, I reinforced there were 5 messages that were, built around 5 strategic imperatives. Getting our rights and facilities, cricket grounds in place. When I talked to you 3 years ago, we only had 2 standard facilities. Now we have 7 in 3 years, and we need to be generating 2 every year. But the anchor of all of this is mass development and just taking cricket out there, reaching 250,000 people. We kept redefining the goals, especially when 3 years ago we found out that, guess what, which state God gave us the highest number of girls introduced to the game? It was Zamfara State. And consistently, in the last 3 years, we've reached out to about 20,000 girls every year introduced to the game in Zamfara State. So that is the basics. Then we go next to say, okay, how can you now transit from just understanding, playing the game and having fun to the high performance pathway? Certain schools play the game. Then we end up with tapping with government the youth games, which is for under 15 national youth games. So we actually invest some of our own funds in terms of technical development, umpires, and rest, partnering with government in the youth game. Then the final one is the PwC Under 17 Championships, where all of these girls, no exception, went through in one way or another. All of these 15 girls who did the nation proud participated either in the 2020, between the 2022 to 2024 editions of the PwC Under 17 Championship. As I speak, for the first time, I believe all the states of the federation are participating in the PwC Under 17 Championship.
Awesome. I know Cecilia cannot wait to jump into the conversation. We're talking about women. Cecilia, take the baton and run.
Yeah, I'm grabbing it. I'm grabbing it all. Okay, Mr. President. We can't talk about team without talking about the composition, especially backroom staff. I learned that Sarah Bakita, she's from Kenya, so you have someone from Kenya and also a former national team player, part of the backroom staff. How were you able to put this together for the girls to achieve the success they recorded in Malaysia?
Well, it was very, very instructive. Bringing Sarah Bakita to Nigeria was, for us, very, very important. About 3 years ago, we attended one of our regular tournaments for women, the Kwibuka tournament in Rwanda. And I saw this lady, I think I appeared the last 2 days before the tournament, elegant, style, grace. I said, who is that lady? She said she's arguably one of the best batters in Africa. So I went after the game, had a chat with her, and within 5 minutes, I saw that her personality was excellent. I said, okay, come visit Nigeria. I want you to have a chat with some of our girls, coming for periodic visits to mentor them. And 6 months later, she called me and says, oh, she's retired from cricket. What plans do we have? Everything fell in place and came first as a mentor to the players, later batting coach. And I knew then, 2 years down the line, that she was going to partner with Blessing Etim, who is an award-winning captain for 9 years, 2 of them, supported by, of course, some technical crew. That's the winning combination. I think you need to see them gel with these girls. They are like elder sisters, mothers, and of course, like the Sunday school teacher when it becomes necessary. But the chemistry is just excellent, and I mean, that's just the outcome. It's not overnight success. It's been deliberate investment in all spheres of the game, the whole ecosystem, grounds, scholarships for the girls, performance incentives. It's just been the whole works.
Now, I was going to come to that aspect, grants and of course performance welfare and everything, But outside that, Nigeria, for instance, the second time we're participating in the last 5 years, 2 World Cups, right? So, what has been the driving force for the federation? And also, I know every country will definitely want to play Nigeria now. I mean, how prepared is the federation to actually maybe accept more countries and maybe go for more competitions for these ladies, and also, of course, for the for all the aspects of cricket this year?
Yeah, one of the biggest, one of the main outcomes from this from these events, what the girls have done is just enhancing the Nigerian cricket brand. When you talk about that, then frankly, we're going to get more commercial partners. With more commercial partners, we're exposed, then we have more tournament. Right there in Malaysia, most of the first playing nation, particularly Pakistan, even after we played that first game and lost narrowly to them, they wanted us to have some bilateral arrangements. We already have those with our African brothers, as it were, to want of using that phrase, South Africa and Zimbabwe. But we're extending that, and of course, it chats with England, because the good thing about England during our raining season here is the summer period there, so we have opportunities to play all year round. So there's a lot of excitement. Our brand has been enhanced. The challenge now between you, significant challenge, rather than rest on our horse, as it were. I actually feel that the task is enormous. How do I keep these girls at the same level as these girls they've just played with in Malaysia, so that 5 years down the line they are at par, to use the golf terminology, they are at par with one another. So the right investment is important. As I said, enhance their scholarships, give them opportunity to play at the highest level anywhere in the world, and obviously continue to train our coaches. So for instance, Sarah, Bakita, and Blessed team, we spend time on secondments to some of these key clubs or countries, just stepping or improving their game. So it's a whole bouquet of things we are trying to do just to leverage or build on this platform of the Malaysian success.
Okay, that's a good one. I'm happy that we are building on this. But let's leave the girls now. I know Austin will definitely want to continue with this one. What are you doing to replicate this for the men, not just only the girls, but for the men? And then the plans for them this year. Are there programs that have been outlined for them this year?
Yes, actually, this year is really key for us. The girls under 19 girls have set things in motion. Next month, towards the end of next month, I believe from the 30th to about 10th of April, Nigeria will actually be hosting the last stage of the Africa World Cup qualifier, taking place. I mean, we're hosting it in the TBS grounds and University of Lagos grounds. Let's just remember that again, 4 years back, Nigeria would not have been able to host. We're not in any position to host this kind of event. Now we have 2 grounds in Lagos, 2 grounds in Abuja, 2 grounds in Benin, 1 in Kaduna. So at the end of the day, we are hopefully hosting to win. It's going to be, I know the expectations are high, but we want to give the lads, the best opportunities in terms of preparation locally, and hopefully a short trip to one of the strong high performance countries where they can just raise their game a little better. So ours is to provide that real opportunity for them to be genuinely competitive. Let's remember now that everybody is looking at us as one of the favorites. But for those who are not initiated, the under-19 boys is a different version of the game. Unlike the T20 that is normally common, we do it all the time. That's what they call the ODI, 50 overs, longer version of the game. And in the normal course of the year, we hardly play most of those things, but we've been deliberate in the last 2 years. working with these same boys who came from the under-17 PWC Championship to prepare them for this tournament. Then later in the year, September, the final stage of the World Africa qualifier. So African qualifiers to get two people to go to the last playoff stage with some other African associates. We lost out in Uganda 2 years ago, narrowly, but this time I think people will see us as well, perhaps one of the favorites. Remember, the girls also got bronze medal at the inaugural Africa Games tournament. So that will be in Botswana, I believe. And then finally, the big one, the big boys, come to Zimbabwe, the men's final qualifying stage, where two teams will emerge out of the 8 there. Zimbabwe is favorites as the host, but the slot is open for any other person. I mean, it's just the excitement is real. You know, I wouldn't be this optimistic if I was speaking to you 4 years ago. I probably would not accept the invite to speak here. But I am genuinely optimistic that our chances are bright. So it gives you that extra energy to just put the right things in place. Forward was to just give them just that extra bit so they can remain competitive. That's what we, as a board of the federation, and now partnering and anchoring with the National Sports Commission, I mean, to see that we deliver on our high performance objectives for this year. As I said, there are other objectives around grassroots development, special initiatives around females, partnerships, sustained partnerships, and overall governance that enhances and puts everything together.
Fantastic. I like the fact that you accept that the reward for success is more hard work, you know. What's the progress? What are we doing with cricket in schools?
Yes, schools, what we've done so far, frankly, we've left schools cricket to be held at the sub-national level. So this year, in the budgets for the year, we are giving a special grant to expand that. So of all the schools, all these 36 states and the FCT, I believe about 18 actually play competitive secondary school competition. So for instance, in Edo State, we have Patrelli Partners tournaments for girls, Templars for the boys, I think Ebonyi. Then there's even actually a Southeast one, which is the one that comes to the zonal level. But we want to enhance that, where we probably, may not be this year, but we want to bring the champions to a central point. So we say, okay, these are the secondary school champions. How's that did that on an invitational basis last year? So it's all about partnerships. We can't do it all. We want to partner with people, empower people at the zonal levels, and then spread it across. Because remember, our overall objective, or one of our key messages, is to make cricket one of the top 3 recognized sports in Nigeria.
I think it's already in the top 5 now. So before we let you go, what's the conversation from the International Cricket Council? Because I was pushing that with what Nigeria did in Malaysia, we deserve to have an automatic, slot for the next World Cup. What did they say to you?
Well, all I need to do, instead of preparing a pitch, I'll just play that your video or your script. But it was quite persuasive. I don't think I have enough persuasive skill. But it's been recognized. I think next week or so, we've been invited. I'll be speaking at an ICC, what we call Africa Hour, to talk about how we've achieved this. Rwanda did it the previous year, and how genuinely, to be fair, and in the spirit of the game of cricket, it could have been any other African country, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Uganda,
Kenya,
Tanzania, Kenya, or ourselves. So the competition is still very stiff out there. And if Nigeria ranked 24 in the world for females, we've actually moved from 26 or 25, and from about 48, about 3 years ago, we are 25 in the world now. We want to break into top 20 this year. If we can go in and be the 6th best in the world at this age grade tournament, I believe any of the other African countries could have done it with the same vision. So it's time for Africa.
It's time for Africa. I totally agree. That's a good place to leave it. Thank you so much, we Akpata, for your time on the show tonight. We're so proud of you, the girls, the backroom staff, everyone in Nigeria Cricket Federation. Take flowers, give to all of them, and say, let's keep it going. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks again. All the best.
Yeah, so that's it. President Nigeria Cricket Federation, we Akpata, speaking to us from Lagos. As regards I don't know how to describe it. Unbelievable performance of the Nigerian women's under 19 team at the T20 World Cup in Malaysia. We love them. We're so proud of them. Let's go on this quick break now. When we come back, Damilola Onifade is in Lagos. He's been listening. We react to some of the conversation that we at Pata, and then we'll talk some more on the show. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back, Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Beautiful conversation on the development of cricket in Nigeria. Damilola Onifade, what do you want to do tonight? Do you want to bat or bowl?
I would like to do both, actually, Austin.
All righty, you listen to We Akpata. What's your take on the development of cricket in the country?
I think it's been brilliant, and I'm not surprised at the success story of cricket in the last 3-4 years. Each time you listen to the president, you see the enthusiasm, you see the belief, you see the conviction in the program that the federation has drawn. Particularly with the fact that when he started with his team, I remember that they focused particularly on infrastructure first of all, because you must have the foundation for which the players must play, and I think we're beginning to see the result. I just hope that they keep getting all the support that they need, and it's also important that for the first time in a while you're talking to a federation president in Nigeria, and that conversation lasted for about 20 minutes, and he didn't have to blame government at any point. And that tells you something. It's an unusual kind of spirit, it's an unusual mindset towards the development of the sport, and that's very commendable.
All right, we'll leave cricket and of course go to MPFL match day 23. The game played earlier today. Start off with that one before we take a look at the games for this weekend. Mohammed Ibrahim, 74th minute goal. That was enough for Katsina United to get all 3 points over Heartland. That was the only game that was played today. But on Saturday, that's where you have the big games. 3SC and Benin Insurance will be in action on Saturday. Remo Stars will be hosting Kano Pillars at the Kene Stadium. And of course, the other games will wrap up for Saturday. Economy Warriors and Nasarawa United will be in action. Then for Sunday games, to conclude the fixtures for match day 23, Niger Tornadoes will host Plateau United, Abia Warriors and Sunshine Stars, Bayelsa United and Rangers International, Rivers United hosting Lobby Stars, Aqua United and Eva. It's not getting easy for Aqua United. Ikorodu City will be hosting Kwara United right here in Lagos. For the games this weekend, which one? It's 3SC Benin Insurance or Aqua United Eva?
I think Aqua United Eva for me. I think Aqua
Austin is going to cry. so why are you choosing them? Because they need to step up.
I think both teams need to step up. Both teams have Aqua United. Eva, when you compare to Aqua United, probably say they're having a more decent season, but by their standard, it's been poor.
Yeah.
For Aqua United, I really don't know what has been happening there. For the past 2 seasons, it's not been the same. Hopefully, because I always say it, for us to get the best out of the MPFL, we must get our big teams to stay for as long as they can. I'm not saying we should be biased in any way, but we need these big teams in the league. It makes the league stronger. It builds for the competitiveness of the league, and that's a game I want to look out for. I see draw written all over that game, by the way. I know Austin might not like it, but I see draw written all over.
All over it. Okay, I'm going to move to Austin. I mean, the Sunday's fixtures. Anyone getting your attention here? Should we? Okay, Rivers United and Lobby Stars, or do we flip over to Saturday's games? Because that's where you have those. I mean, there's usually this hype between Shooting Stars and Benin Insurance whenever these two sides are meeting. But right now, Shooting Stars are second. Benin Insurance are 14th or 12th. 14th or 15th on the log. I'm trying to just remember right now the way it's looking like.
15th, yeah. Benin Insurance 15th on the log. They've been unbeaten in their last 7 games, 4 draws, 3 wins. So that's a good, that's a good form to take to Ibadan. But against this Shooting Stars team that have not looked back for only God knows since when. Go away. If they don't win you, they are going to pick a point and travel back to Ibadan. Benga Ogumbote, whatever spirit he invoked into this team, other coaches should go and borrow some of it. You know, they would be beating themselves and saying, if only they had a better start to the season, there's no way Remo will be, you know, where they are ahead of them at the moment. But they will relish it. They would like it. We're good to see shooting stars, you know, play on the continent. You know, let's see what they can do, you know, because we've seen others. But I'd like to see, interestingly, what Abia Warriors can do against Sunshine Stars. Coach Imama is also doing a beautiful job with Abia Warriors. I think they are fifth on the log, or fourth on the log. So if they beat Sunshine Stars, that'll push them into more reckoning, you know. And what wins do for you is they give you more confidence. They tell you to believe in yourselves, you know, morale. So let's see, like Heartland, I was thinking they were going to do something in Katsina because they've shown that, you know, they are experiencing some level of resurgence under Coach Emmanuel Amunike. I think this is their 8th defeat. Not so good, but the draws also hasn't been fair on them. I think about 7 draws and now 7 wins. But you want to say with the way they started, remember Cecilia was saying, hey, what's wrong with Heartland? Emmanuel Amunike found a way to, you know, just get them to calm down. But we would like to see Remo Stars Kano Pillars. That one definitely, you know, should get us talking to. Remo Stars, not looking back. 4th away win of the season. Well, the other day on the show, I said 3.5, and they called me from Ikene to say I should give them their 4 because the last game against Sunshine Stars, yes, was an away fixture, but it was played in Ikene on Remo's ground. That's why I said what I said. But give big ups to Remo, and look, the sort of football they're playing, it tells you, and it confirms what I always say on TV, that 70% of your wins in any type of sport happens before you get into the pitch for action. Look at Remo. The difference between Remo and the other teams, it's not the football, it's the management. And that's why we're seeing these things. They've been consistent, you know, consistently doing their thing in the last 3-4 seasons. So shout out to Remo Stars. And that's about that. You see, I did a great job in, you know, avoiding Aqua United in because Aqua United, I don't know what they are trying to do to me, but I always just come back and talk about the results, Cecilia.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I understand that. We'll get to find out what will happen after the result. All right, let's go to the FA Cup. Saturday's fixtures, round 4. Leighton Orient will be hosting Manchester City, who are conceding goals as he's going out of fashion. Coventry City and Ipswich Town, Everton and Bournemouth, Southampton and Burnley, you have Wigan and Fulham, Birmingham and Newcastle United. Newcastle, just brimming from that confidence, 4-0 aggregate win over Arsenal. In the Carabao Cup, you have Brighton and Chelsea will wrap up the day for Saturday. Move over to Sunday's fixtures, where Tottenham and, of course, Aston Villa will be in national. Plymouth and Liverpool, you have Blackburn and Wolves. These are the games for you in the FA Cup. Yes, Aston Villa and Tottenham. Why that game everyone is talking about? Because of what happened. Liverpool, and we'll talk about the Carabao Cup later, but Liverpool and of course Tottenham, that game, I mean, they considered a lot. They let it all out, and at the end of the day they were thrashed. Now they will be facing Aston Villa. Aston Villa, they let their big boy go to Saudi Arabia, but then there's a Rashford. They kind of revitalized Marcus Rashford, 27, who wants to prove a lot, because if you look at the log on the table, Aston Villa right now, they are playing in the Champions League. They are ranked higher than they are in the running for the Champions League for next season, the top 4. While Man United are where? 13th or 14th? Okay. Alright. But then that's why everyone, all eyes will definitely be on that blockbuster in the FA Cup 4th round.
I expect Aston Villa to win. I think this first team seems to have given up on this season. But it also must be said that that team is not poor, and I don't think it's the fault of the coach. When you have so much injuries as they are having, I mean, even in yesterday's game, I think that's probably the 5th game or 6th that the Brazilian will be playing this season. What's his name? My name just skipped me. And yes, he got injured yesterday, calf injury. So the injuries have been piling it up. No, the die-headed Brazilian, the tall one. I've forgotten his name now, strangely. But then I expect Aston Villa to win that game. I don't know about revitalize Marcus Rashford. I'm not big on this. Rashford will be revived at Aston Villa until he can get it done. Until he can get it done. Because we said the same thing when Sterling was moving to Arsenal. How much have we seen of that? So I want to see him get it done. I hope that the environment will suit him. I believe that if an Emery wanted Rashford at Man United, then he must be saying something in him that he believes he can get out of him. And hopefully, because I love Rashford, don't get me wrong, he's a player that I like so much. But even though I disagree with the fact that they want to play him as a 9, I think he's more of a winger than a pointsman. So I wish him all the best. But I expect in that particular game specifically, I expect Aston Villa to win. But the shock for me this weekend will come from Leighton Orient Man City.
Okay. Can people just learn to show respect to Manchester City? Yes, I know. Yes, there's been a whole lot going on with that club, and someone saying the majors will be playing in League 2 or Championship next season, depending on the outcome of the so-called court case has been on for a while. But Austin, Eddie Howe is cooking something. What he did to Arsenal is shocking for everyone. 3 times beating a team, as good as Arsenal this season. But against Birmingham, that's all eyes will definitely be on them to see if they can, flop or they will ride on that. But Eddie Howe somehow knows how to actually navigate through games like this.
It's been a long time coming with Newcastle and Eddie Howe, and he has always said that they will give priority to the cup games, and that's why they didn't mess around with Arsenal in that second leg fixture in the Carabao Cup. So I think it's going to be easy peasy, unless the FA Cup does what the FA Cup normally give to us, which is the upsets. That's why we'll now come back and say there was an upset. But since that shouldn't be any problem for Newcastle. About a quick update: 32 minutes played in that game between Manchester City and Leicester City at Old Trafford. Ruud van Nistelrooy is returning to Old Trafford. Good to see Nigeria's midfielder Wilfred Ndidi back in action. There was a fine move in the 20th minute by Leicester City, but they couldn't find the back of the net. It's still goalless. But let's listen to Eddie Howe. He's been talking about the selection for the FA Cup game.
Yeah, absolutely it is. However you describe it, after the Lord Mayor show is one that's used a lot, and I get it. And that's sort of one of the dangers for this weekend for us. But I back our players' professionalism, I back our players' ability. And I have to say, we've been involved in so many big games now that yes, the highs are high, of course it is, after Wednesday. We can't pretend that doesn't exist, but I think hopefully the players have become more used to then returning to work and then going, right now, how do we win the next game? And that's where we have to live. We have to be the type of team that can adjust its sights very quickly and be very proud of our levels of performance and our levels of motivation to go and win the next game.
Yeah, that's it. Said the right things. And most importantly, they won't go out there and underestimate Birmingham. Football has shown us stranger things than Damilola, and that's why Eddie Howe and his team are taking this one seriously.
Yeah, I think Newcastle deserve everything they've achieved so far this season. I think the biggest problem with Newcastle, that team is good enough, but at some point during the season, they just have these downward slide, and then they start dropping points, particularly in the league. But honestly, the difference for me between Newcastle's approach and Arsenal is the fact that they know where they are and they know what they should be aiming for. And I think that aiming for the cup at this level is the best thing to do. I mean, in 3 years they are going to their second Carabao Cup final. That is not by any means a failed approach to it. And even though they are playing Liverpool, I will put that Carabao Cup final at 50-50. But I think that tomorrow you expect them to dispatch Birmingham as easy as possible so that they can at least start resting some players very quickly. But I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. And I have no fear that they will do it.
Let's see what they can do. Now, let's talk about Carabao Cup quickly. I mean, you just mentioned that. Austin, you were giving us updates on the show last night. And, of course, you were like, okay, 2-0, right? And then we finished the show. I'm like, how did it happen? How did Tottenham collapse and allowed Liverpool to go rampant in a semi-final? If you check the results of both the team, 4-1 aggregate, now 4-0 aggregate, you'd be wondering, this is a semi-final. And the way, I think Ancelotti was having fun, watching his team tearing Spurs apart.
You know, Cecilia, football can be so funny. Yeah, sometimes you might just be on the ascendancy and then you concede one goal and then everything will come falling apart. And when you've got this man in a very fine form and every other player in Liverpool seem to, you know, be pumped up and playing football with vibes, that's the sort of results you will get. If you're that sort of, okay, maybe 1-0, 2-0, you know. And don't forget, they've got players who just come in, you know, and then they start doing super things. I've seen it this season a lot. I'm ready for that. Just like, okay, let me join the party. Boom, it was 4-0 Cecilia. What a story. What a season for Arne Slot and this Liverpool team. And I feel so much for Postecoglou and Tottenham. That ship is sinking. I don't know what they're going to do to salvage the remainder of the season. But hey, it's football where anything can happen. Let's listen to Slot. He is one man who is speaking with so much caution and he will go out there and still get the results. Listen.
My thoughts are more on Sunday already than thinking about the final in a month. But our performance today was something that pleased me most. Reaching a final should always be special, even for this club, because this club is used to playing finals. But still then, we are working very hard every single day to try to improve players, and the players want to improve themselves every single day. But we're also in this business to play finals. Although we already know how difficult the final is going to be because we faced Newcastle already and they were very impressive yesterday as well. But many games to be played before that final, and this is where our focus should be at. I'm not saying anything strange that Tottenham is conceding goals because they have so many injury problems. That's probably the main reason why they are conceding goals, but they are always able to score goals as well and create a lot. And for us to be so aggressive without the ball that it took them 80 minutes before they had their first shot on target doesn't tell you anything about Tottenham. That should tell you a lot about our work rate without the ball. And I think that's what stood out for me, to play against a team that is so good in creating chances, not conceding hardly. Only one shot is in the end a good accomplishment.
So Cecilia, it's going to be Newcastle versus Liverpool. I think both teams deserve to be in the final. Where are you putting your money?
I think Liverpool any day, anytime, because the way they are playing, just listening to Slot tells you that it's like you could see the arrogance in him, stylishly saying, I know they're used to playing in the final. Not just that, I mean, Ipswich is around the corner. He doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't even want to talk about the final first. It's like he's focusing on Ipswich first, and then before he starts talking about the final. And he tells you that a coach like that will look at the team and, you know what, we know this team usually concede goals. So they always concede. You don't know why they concede goals. Hey, you beat them 4-1 aggregate, and they're asking you don't know why. So his arrogance alone tells you that I don't know what Eddie Howe is going to do, but somehow, you know, he is a very brilliant and intelligent coach, so he knows what to put forward to actually try as much as possible, you know, to see if he can, you know, choke Liverpool so they don't run rampant. So that's the only way you can actually avoid losing to a team like that. In 56 years, they haven't won a cup at Wembley, so opportunity for them to do it. I mean, 70 years, I mean, wait, no trophy. So it tells you that there's so much at stake for them. Liverpool already, I mean, they're used to winning, but when you have a team that hasn't won in a long time, so that is one thing. If it's able to just hold its own, maybe, but I think my money, but I can actually stick my neck out and say, except something extraordinary happens on that day, I think Liverpool definitely get this one. This is a trophy for them. The only team I believe that could have been able to, like, okay, maybe Arsenal, who are not so consistent, so you can look at Arsenal and say Arsenal could have been able to maybe take them to the cleaners on their day. But with what Newcastle did to them, it shows they wanted it more. And that's going to extend to the final on that day. I think it's going to be all Liverpool. Yeah. You want to put your money somewhere?
I will also side with you, but maybe not as much as you've done. I think everything favors Liverpool. They are a team of winners. There are loads of players in that Liverpool team that have won finals before. And for Newcastle, they are still trying to win. From the coach to the players, not many winners there. So that would give Liverpool that edge. When they go and get stuff, they probably will manage the pressure better. But I think it's going to be a battle of midfield. If the Newcastle that played the second leg against Arsenal turns up, then it's going to be a very interesting final. But if you have the Newcastle that can play as if they are weather, you don't know whether they are hot or cold, then it's going to be Liverpool can run through them. That Liverpool midfield is the biggest problem any team will have when you play against Liverpool. It's difficult to stop them. They are not just skillful, they are also strong. And if you cannot stop them, you can't stop this team.
Okay, unstoppable Liverpool. We'll see what's going to happen to that one. Postecoglou, of course, he regrets, actually not being able to take a Liverpool when they had the chance. They won the first leg 1-0, but second leg, how do you lose 4-0? Let's listen to Postecoglou talking after that game. Clearly disappointed with the performance of his players.
We didn't really get to the levels we needed to tonight. It was always going to be a big challenge for us. They're obviously a very good side and in a great moment with all their players sort of in very good form, very settled. But for us to kind of give ourselves an opportunity, we had to be a lot more aggressive with them without the ball, and we weren't. We allowed them to sort of control the game and dictate sort of where it was played, and in the end, that's good for us. It's disappointing. It was a great opportunity for us tonight to get to a final. We didn't take that opportunity. Didn't give ourselves a chance to take the opportunity, which is probably more disappointing. But ultimately, it's an opportunity for further learning and an opportunity for us to kind of atone for that by making amends and with a strong performance on Sunday.
Okay, they have more motivation right now. After that, after losing, they understand what is at stake against Aston Villa. They need to win to get their fans back. Now, let's move to Madrid derby. There's a whole lot surrounding the Madrid derby because from the officiating that Carlo Ancelotti, Real Madrid have been complaining about, Atletico Madrid also is complaining about that. And then you have the, I don't know how Ancelotti, there's a word he used, Real Madrid is in emergency right now because of their defenders. Now, let me read out the names of the injured players. You have Antonio Rudiger, right? He's a defender. Eder Militao is a defender. Dani Cavara is a defender. David Alaba, he is a defender. Now, these guys are on the sideline, and you're facing a side like Atletico Madrid. And Simeone joked earlier today in his press conference, said he will be arriving at the Bernabeu in the same fashion as always. And what does he do?
Parking the bus.
Okay. So
I think Real Madrid are in trouble. I think they're in trouble. But then it's a derby, so a lot of things in the course of the game will determine the fate of that game. I think it's probably the best time that Atletico wants to play Real Madrid. You have them in a position where they probably will be a bit more cautious than usually Real Madrid is, because you don't want to go all out when you know that your backline is not in the strongest shape, because it's a game where a point might be more valuable than being careless. And so I think it's a good time for Atletico, but I still would not bet against Real Madrid any day, particularly with their front line. Sometimes a team can concede, but they can still outscore you. Conceding does not necessarily mean you beat them. They can still outscore, and they have the firepower from midfield to the attack. What am I saying? It does present to us, particularly if you're a neutral, for what should be a very interesting Madrid derby this weekend.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I expect it to
your
be.
money is or something?
My money is on Madrid, actually.
On Madrid.
Real Madrid.
The last 4 fixtures, there's been 3 draws in all. Yeah. And if you look at Real Madrid front line, yes, we talked about the back line injured, but the front line, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, you have Vinicius Junior, of course. Kylian Mbappe was rested for the Copa del Rey last night. Of course, obviously he will be playing that derby. The other one that ended in the draw, he didn't play, he had a hamstring. But this time around, is it the time for Kylian Mbappe to shine?
I think so, and he's beginning to show that he wants to, do this sort of football for Real Madrid. But if you take a look at the last 5 games, 2 wins for Atletico, 2 draws, and 1 win for Real Madrid. You want to say Atletico will go out there and play the sort of football that we talked about. They'll play cautious football. They'll try to catch Real Madrid on the break. But as you said, that front line is a dangerous one, and it's at the Santiago Bernabeu. So Kylian Mbappe will try to, get the fans to, warm up to him, put up a good performance, and get Real Madrid the win that they seriously want to get. Quick updates before we go in the EFL Cup, the game between Manchester United and Leicester City. Guess it. It's Leicester City 1, Manchester United 0. That's it. Maybe with Cecilia, I won't come back and then to end 5-1 or 6-0 or something. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember to keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Damilola, it was nice doing this with you again.
That is nice doing this, and I wish Leicester all the best.
Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a fantastic weekend.